So I just like to talk about my experiences doing a PhD. So it's sort of a master slash PhD. The aim was that I do a master's, get a tick, and then follow on, finish with a PhD tick. So they'd both be following on from each other, but I get a little master's tick and then a big PhD tick. That was the whole idea. Okay, so it's my experiences, and I'll say up front, I failed to complete. I failed. That was a huge thing to me, failing. I do not like failing. I do not like losing. I've never failed at anything in my life. Everything I've done, I've succeeded and followed through. So this is a hard thing to take, a failure. Okay, so let's just look at my experiences. So my experiences with trying to get a PhD and get started on a PhD and working towards a master's and PhD. So that's what this presentation is all about. And why am I doing that? Well, maybe what I have to say will help someone out there. Okay, I have talked about what happened to me a lot with various people. And they've all been pretty shocked and horrified. And so maybe my story's worth telling. I don't know. You be the judge. So my PhD was sponsored by my university. Okay, so I was teaching at the university full time. And at my university, there's a publish or perish culture, which is common amongst universities these days. You've got to either publish 1, 2, 3 papers a year, or else you could be facing getting the SAG. Okay, so even tenured professors and I was a tenured lecturer. I was there full time, and I was getting a lot of pressure put on me to do research, publish, okay, and all that sort of thing. And there's this growing trend of good teachers don't matter. It's all about your research. So if you've got to skip classes or don't turn up to classes, if you're a teacher and don't turn up to classes, that's fine as long as you're doing your research. And I really don't like that. A university, students should come first. Okay, your research comes second, your students come first. Okay, but that's my idea, and I was in the minority. There was a couple of us in that boat that really focused on our teachers, focused on our students in our classes, but we were in the minority, and the research people sort of, well, there's no other word for it really. They bullied us into becoming researchers. And university rankings are all done on research output. If a university gets 10 out of 10 for looking after students and providing great courses that really help students in industry, that doesn't really matter as much in rankings. It doesn't matter at all in rankings, in fact, compared to the university produce lots of research papers. That matters far more. So there's this constant pressure on universities to get their lecturers and get their staff publishing. And if you're a good teacher and you're focused on your students, you'll get swept aside or even fired. Okay, or when the redundancy rounds come, they'll be looking at you to go. Okay, so yes, are they getting rid of the best teachers? Absolutely. In case I didn't make that very clear, absolutely. The best teachers are gone, and the best courses are gone as well because they didn't have many students. So it's all about publish, perish, and only the most profitable courses survive. Anyway. So as part of being sponsored by my university, that meant there was no fees, no course fees, no PhD fees during the course or when I graduated or when I completed. There was no fees. That was a really nice thing. I really appreciated that, and I realised that it was the only time in my life that I was going to be offered a PhD opportunity without having any fees, because normally the fees are like $30,000 plus a year, $50,000 plus a year. Okay, so at the end of a 5-year PhD, you could be looking at the best part of $1 million in fees, $500,000 to $1 million in fees. So the no fees thing was, whew, thank you. I really appreciated it. And I worked my very hardest towards getting it as well. So no fees, big thing. And I did many hours of work every week. So weekends, I never had weekends spare, never had nights spare. I was working on my PhD the whole time. From the second I started until the time that I finally failed and dropped out. So I didn't let my foot off the accelerator. I worked really hard. Okay, so that was my experiences. So the run-up, let's go back a bit and talk about the run-up to getting started with things. So how did I get started? Okay, so some people get awesome topics and resources handed to them on a silver platter. I've seen it with my colleagues. And I've seen it in documentaries and things where they talk about PhD students around the world. Some people get awesome topics and awesome resources handed them to them on a platter, and I got nothing. Okay. Some people get paid time. to do their PhDs or masters. So they might get 6 to 12 months off on full pay while they get started on their PhD. And then they might get another 6 months or 12 months off at the end of the PhD to wrap things up and finalize things. So they might get up to 2 years on full pay. And as well as that, they might get a day off a week while they're working on it, or 2 days a week off while they're working on it. Okay, so some people get a lot of paid time to do their PhD. And again, I got nothing. If I was working on my PhD, then I wasn't looking after my students. Even though I didn't have any classes and I was still working on my PhD, I meant my students weren't getting email support, which really went against my grain. Because I've got students all around the world, and they're different time zones, and people were always emailing me asking questions. So to have to turn off my email for 6 or 12 hours or more and focus on my research was a really hard thing to do. I found it very hard to ignore my students. So the vast majority of people, including me, will need to scrounge around for years to find a suitable topic. You'll need to scrounge around and make lots of presentations and pitch lots of ideas before you'll find an idea that's finally accepted. And I was certainly in that boat. And the vast majority of us will never get any paid time off to work on our masters or PhDs, and I was certainly in that boat as well. So I got no paid time off, and I got no topic suggestions or any resources handed to me. Okay, it was all fine. It was all just go away and find it. Found one yet? No. Go away and find it. It was that sort of thing. It was okay. So what were some of the topics I pitched? So these are the main topics I pitched over about 3 years. These are just the main ones. There was many other smaller topics as well, but these are just the main ones I pitched. Okay. So these are the ones I most wanted to do, and I proposed, and I wrote proposals for them. So I'm really interested in virtual neurons and brain modeling. Okay, so creating a virtual neuron out of software and then having it communicate with other neurons, and pathways getting stronger for some places and pathways getting weaker with other routes through the network, and have it model a human brain, or start off with a very basic brain, maybe an insect brain, a cockroach brain or something to start off with, and then maybe build up to part of a rat brain and see how far it could go, see what it told me. Okay, now many other researchers are doing this around the world. So maybe what I was going to do was nothing brand new or novel, but it was certainly brand new and novel to me. I'd never done anything like it before. And I would have been learning a lot. And who knows, maybe I could have, because I'm not following in the footsteps of anyone. I'm just trying to find out for myself what this stuff all means. Maybe I could have found other areas or other niches where maybe other people hadn't thought to go. Okay, so who knows what I might have found. So virtual neuron brain modeling was my #1 idea. I really wanted to do that. And also anything to do with artificial intelligence, neural networks, anything like that modeling, that was me. I wanted to be there and do that. So these sort of things are two sort of similar sort of areas, although neural networks is quite different, really, when you get down to it. And AI is a huge area. So virtual neuron and brain modeling is just sort of one path. Again, virtual neuron brain modeling. I liked it so much I've got it listed there twice. So, the other thing I really like is I like the idea of us going to Mars or going to Venus. I know Venus is a tough one, and so is Mars. And maybe terraforming the planet so that we can live there without living in igloos and or hermetically sealed tents, and be able to walk around on the planet without having protective gear, or maybe just a breathing mask. So the idea of going to another planet and terraforming it so it's got a nitrogen-rich oxygen atmosphere and things like that is something I'm really interested in. I've been interested in it for decades. I've done a lot of reading on it, done a lot of thinking about it. I had some great ideas for the way I wanted to do modeling. I was going to have a model that was, a square meter, a column of air going all the way up for 100 miles. I was going to make it so you could inject various gases at certain locations and or liquids, and see the reactions and see what was happening and see how it affected the whole column. That's the thing where I was going there. So again, that was another area I was really liked. When I was running out of ideas, I suggested, well, how about a poker playing AI robot, and have it so the poker bot could bluff and have a bit of randomness and some real sneakiness built into it. So try and emulate a human player better. And at that stage, when I was pitching this idea, no one had done it yet, really. There was a couple of poker playing bots out there, but there was nothing that really had bluffing and randomness and human sneakiness down pat. So I wanted to really explore that and see what I could do. And acting strong when you're weak and acting weak when you're strong and all that sort of stuff. See if I could get a poker playing bot to do that as well. So getting a whole lot of the human sneakiness and randomness in there would have been a lot of fun. And again, no one out there had really done it by that stage, or nobody I'd heard of. Climate change modelling is sort of linked to atmosphere modelling, but trying to work out what we can do to maybe help fix our planet so that we're not, going to warm it by 3 degrees in the next 100 years or something like that. What can we do? What are the options? Great big mirrors in space, pumping sulfides into the upper atmosphere. What can we do that's not going to destroy the planet or make things worse or cause other issues? I'm also interested in ethical hacking. So exploring weaknesses in operating systems and applications to ensure applications and data are secure, detect tampering with applications or operating systems, honeypots, having applications that self-check themselves to make sure they're intact before they run. And I certainly learned a lot about that with my own freeware and shareware that I've developed on my webpage. So 99% of it's freeware now. There's only one program you have to pay for now, that's SAG Calculator. But originally I was selling a lot of stuff for $5, which was unheard of. Everything was usually $20 for shareware. And I just started selling stuff at the cheapest possible price I could think was reasonable. And to see what would happen. And that was another experiment I'll talk about another time. Anyway, and if you want to see some of my shareware, check out my webpage. Links in the description. So ethical hacking was another idea, and I've done a lot of work in that area. A lot of work. Okay, and still only scratched the surface. Really, it's a huge area. I'm also interested in space travel and astronomy. So explore and model options for us getting to the stars, scenarios, model the effects of speed and cryogenic sleep and time dilation and distance and, being so far away and isolated, model the effects of that on humans and on our equipment as well. How will our equipment survive and how will we repair it? So that was another area I was really interested in. And there was many others as well, but they were the main areas. I especially wanted to do the virtual neuron brain modeling or the AI stuff. They were really my prime areas that I really wanted to do. Okay. So over the years, I pitched and put together proposals for about 10 topics. All were perfect topics, I thought. I thought they were perfect topics for a university school of mathematics and computing, which is where I worked, the School of Mathematics and Computing. So I thought they were perfect topics because they combine mathematics and computer science and all sorts of other things in that same sort of ballpark. So I thought they were absolutely perfect topics. And I thought the people I pitched them to, my superior people, I won't mention any names or any positions because I don't want to get anyone in trouble, and I don't want to get in a bun fight with anybody. That's the last thing I want. I'm just speaking generally. But I thought they would have been snapped up. I thought the first topic I pitched would have been, Mike, that's a great topic. Go right ahead. But no. However, all of my topics were rejected as not suitable as computer science or maths topics. Not suitable as computer science or maths topics. Not suitable for our school. That's what I was told. And my mind is still boggled about that. And I've talked to other people that have done their PhDs and have not done their PhDs, and other people in other positions at the university and other universities. And I've showed them the topics I pitched, and I've showed them that response. And they're there going, I can't understand. There's no sense in that. There's no sense at all. Okay, that makes zero sense. And I'm still boggled about it. 4 or 5 years later, I'm still boggled about it. And I thought, what the hell? So every time a topic was rejected, because it's quite a lot of work to do a pitch, it's a good day's work really to do a pitch for a topic. After every rejection, I would say, okay, what ideas have you got that would make a valid topic, or what would make a valid topic? Okay, so I thought that was a fair question. And every time I came back, and I've just put XXXX, I don't want to mention any person's names or positions, and they would say, don't know, you need to find a topic. We will let you know when you've found one that's suitable. So it was go away and come back when you found another topic, and we'll let you know whether it's okay or not. you know, like you're a little 3-year-old that wants to play or something. Go away, go away. And again, this isn't just me, this has happened to. This happened to a lot of other staff that I've talked to at my university and other universities. So it's not just me. So if you're planning to do a PhD or a master's, get ready for this sort of seemingly nonsense. And I can't call it anything else, it is nonsense. So for me, it felt like shooting fish in a barrel. You know, going away, trying to come up with topics, going back, presenting them, getting told no, find something else, go away and finding something else and hoping it would be successful next time. And I did that for over 3 years. Because I wasn't full-time on it. I was looking after my students. So I'd spend, 3 or 4 weeks thinking about another topic, another way to pitch it that might be accepted. And I'd come back with the pitch, work about a day on it for the pitch, come back and pitch it, and it would be rejected again for the same reason. Not suitable for our school. Not suitable for a school of computer science and maths. What? What? What the? Okay. So it was a real barrel shoot, a real fish in a barrel shoot. And it really wore me down. So this went on for over 3 years. Eventually, I did find a topic that was accepted. Okay. I found a topic that was accepted. It was a very wishy-washy topic. Okay, I don't want to talk about it too much because it's still pretty embarrassing, really. Compared to virtual neurons and climate modeling and stuff like that, it's pretty wishy-washy and embarrassing topic. And but it linked education with learning and computer science. So it linked all those 3 things together, and it was a cross-discipline flavour to it, and that was very attractive to my university at the time. So they said, yep, that's a good topic, we'll take that one. And then it came time, once I found a topic, then it came time to find a supervisor. Because supervisors don't grow on trees. So then you've got to go through talking to all the senior staff there and try and find someone who will supervise your PhD. And so you don't want to find someone with lots of PhD students because they won't have time for you. And so you want to know someone that's ready, willing, and able to help you. And the first step of that, after I found a supervisor, then I had to enroll in a research methods course, which is a 12-month course. The research methods course might be called different things in different universities. And the whole idea of that course is it prepares you to do your master's or PhD. And the strange thing about that course was it didn't do any of the things I thought would prepare a person to do a master's or a PhD. I thought there would have been an assignment on statistics where you've got to model some data and analyze some data and do some chi-squared analysis and things like that to work out whether there's anything significant there. There was nothing like that. Nothing statistical, nothing mathematical, no analyzing data. It was just, critiquing other research that had been done or analyzing transcripts of TV shows or analyzing interviews to see what people really mean when they say stuff. So again, it wasn't really a course that I thought it would have been. But I did it because I had to do it. I couldn't go ahead without doing it, so I did it. And I had 4 massive assignments, and I achieved a really nice HD overall, which was terrific. I was really proud of that, to get through that. And so I'll say there I'm full of confidence, but I was sort of full of confidence because the research methods course didn't do what I thought it would do. It didn't cover anything that I thought it would do as a research methods course. I thought, well, my supervisors told me that now I'm ready to do the PhD and masters, so I must be ready. So I sort of got myself into this being confident and got it so I could go ahead. So hopefully I'm all set for my PhD now, hopefully. So next, what happened next? Well, the assignments in my research methods course were supposed to help me with my PhD. And the first stage of your PhD, at my university anyway, is a document, a big thick document, like 180 pages or 200 pages, something like that. It's not a little document. It's something quite substantial called a confirmation of candidature, okay, or a COC. And my research methods course was supposed to tell me so that my work on my topic could just slot straight into the COC and I would be well underway with the masters. That was the whole idea of doing the research methods course. No, it didn't work that way. What the research methods course taught me had absolutely nothing at all to do with the CAC or my PhD or the Masters or anything. The research methods course was somewhere out in the field, teaching nice to know stuff, but stuff that wasn't relevant at all to my PhD or Masters. I don't know what was going on there. I really don't know what was going on. So I wrote my CAC and it was rejected. I rewrote it, it was rejected. I rewrote it again and it was rejected. I looked at all the feedback I'd got and I rewrote it again and it was rejected. I looked at all the feedback I got so far, thought I was on the right track, rewrote it again and submitted it, rejected again. Hard work. Months and months and months had gone by. Nothing I did was what they wanted. And it seemed like nobody could explain why. So again, it was like this, go away and rewrite it, and we'll let you know when you've got it right. That's what it felt like. Not quite as bad as the topic pitching that I was doing, but it was along the same sort of lines. It felt a lot the same. Sorry. The pitching and the rejection of my CAC, there was no clear explanation why, and there was no list of things to fix, or what to fix, or how to fix it, or what was really the issue. It was really just go away and maybe think about these areas, try and incorporate these areas into it. So I'd go away and I'd do that and I'd explore those areas and really explore and think about those areas in relation to what I was doing and think, okay, I could maybe focus on this area and this area and this area, and I'd put all those in as well and rearrange things and make it so it addressed what I thought the issues were, and it would be no, go away and do it again. So an exercise in shooting fish in a barrel and frustration. And in the end, I was just completely confused. I didn't have a clue what I was supposed to be doing, where I was supposed to be going, what I was supposed to be doing. I was just completely confused. And I've been burning through time, so many months had gone by this stage. Probably a year for my research methods course. That took a year full time. That was a full-time course. It was only one course, and I was doing like 30 hours a week on top of classes. There was a little 2-hour get-together class each week, and so I was doing 30 hours of reading. There was stacks of reading to do for it, and also the assignments. And I think there was also weekly things you had to do and submit as well. Yes, it was weekly things you had to do. It's 5-6 years ago now, but yes, there was weekly things you had to do and submit. And there was 4 big assignments. So, and that was a full-time job for me, going to that course and doing that. But I did it as well while I was teaching. So the 30 hours work I was doing on it was sort of in amongst lectures and classes, and also nights and weekends. I was doing a lot of work in my own time, a lot of work. Midnight 4 nights a week, all weekend. So by this stage, I'd spent a year on a research methods course and the best part of a year on my CAC. So 2 years, full time. And it all felt like it was falling apart. It all felt like it was going nowhere. I was very confused. 2 years in, I was very confused. In the end, I had major health issues. I won't talk about those on video. And I had to take 12 months off for treatment. I think you can guess what it is. I had cancer, so I had to go and have surgery and chemotherapy and radiation treatment and all sorts of things. Mostly down in Brisbane, so I was away for a long time. I was living away from home. It was very expensive living away from home and treatment. And thankfully, my university, I had sick leave. I'd virtually never taken a sick day at university, so I had a lot of sick leave built up. And also my superannuation. I drew money out of my superannuation to help me live, so that's how I pay for it all. So after about 12 months of treatment, I managed to put things on hold for 12 months. So I'd worked on the research methods course for a year, and then I'd done a year of trying to get my CAC underway, and then I had to stop for treatment, and I managed to put the brakes on for a year. Okay, so I was coming back in a year to start again. But when I returned, there was just relentless deadlines, one after the other, and they were ruthless. Once I got back, the deadlines couldn't move. That was the deadline, and that was it. And they were just ruthless, one after the other, and I couldn't I couldn't get started again. I was still confused about where I had to go. I still had no idea what was really wrong with my CAC. And I was still shooting fish in a barrel. And so I dropped out. So I failed. And that was a hard thing to take. I've never failed before. Okay, when I was at uni, I failed a couple of courses. I was in a car crash on the way to an exam one night. I was in a car crash on the way to an exam, and the university was really strict about giving deferred exams. So I went and sat the exam anyway, and I had a broken up arm. I had all blood coming out of my arm, and there was blood all over the exam paper. But I finished the paper, but I failed. Okay, because I wasn't in the state of mind to sit an exam. I got a really bad hit in the head. And so I've failed university courses, but I've made up for it. I've taken other courses and got HDs and distinctions and things to make up for every failure I had. So it was hard to fail, very hard. Even now, 5-6 years later, I'm still a little disappointed. And I'm also kind of glad because I was facing another 5 or 6 years of really, really hard work. And the way I was feeling after 2 years, so confused and not sure where to go, I've got no guarantee at all that it would have got better. So from that point of view, I'm kind of glad that I also said that's enough, I'm out. Well, really the deadline said that to me. I missed the deadline, and that's it, you're out. There's no extensions. So would I try and do a PhD again? So that's my experiences. Would I try and do a PhD again? Maybe I would. It would have to be my choice of topic next time. My choice of topic. Not a topic that they finally accepted that was sort of a wishy-washy topic that just sort of ticks some of the boxes to let it get through. It would have to be a great topic in a really nice, leading edge technology area like virtual neurons. I first pitched that idea to my university back in about 2005, 2004. And even now, today, 2020, it's still a leading edge area for research. So that would still be something I'll have to do. And hey, I'm still researching it now. I've never been paid to research it, but every article I see on virtual neurons and virtual brains and things I read, I'm always watching videos on it. So it's a huge area of interest for me. Okay, so it would have to be my choice of topic, and I'd need a lot more support and guidance next time, and I'd want that in front, guaranteed, up front. Okay. So when you tell me I've done something wrong, why? You've got to tell me why. Explain it to me so that I can understand it. A lot more guidance. This is what you need to do, Mike. This is what you need to do, and these are the things you need to do as you do it. Make sure you cover all these areas. Okay, go. Not just go ahead. Not just go away and try again. For me to think about it again, all my course and uni fees would have to be paid. I don't want to be paying anything to do a PhD. Okay, I'm now, well over 50. So if I'm going to incur a $500,000 or $1 million debt to do a PhD, there's not enough time left in my career to pay that back. So I don't want a student loan for $1 million or $500,000. And I'm certainly not getting a loan for it or a mortgage for it. So if I was going to do a PhD now, it would have to be paid for by my employer or another university or sponsored or something, I don't know. And I'd also have to consider that it's going to be at least 4 to 6 years of hard work and maybe 8 or 9 or 10 years of hard work. And it's going to be weekends, nights, late nights, all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot to consider. And the final thing, for me to justify doing 4 to 6 or 8 or 10 years of really hard work in my own time, it would either have to be, it'd have to lead to a massive promotion and pay increase in my work. And at my age, it's not going to happen. So no one's going to pay for me to do a PhD this late. They're going to pay for a 20-something-year-old or a 30-something-year-old to do it, not a 50-something-year-old. So yeah, I'm dreaming there. And that's it. So that's just my experiences with doing a PhD. They may not be your experiences. You might do a PhD and have a completely different experience. If so, that's great. I hope you do. I hope you don't do all the shooting fish in a barrel that I had to do. That was really unpleasant and horrible. And I hope you don't have to pitch idea after idea after idea to people that just, keep their arms crossed and say, go and find something else. You know, I hope you don't have to, I hope you don't have any of that. Anyway, I certainly don't want the video to be negative. There's positives in the video as well. And that is, maybe my experiences will help other people. Okay, anyway, thanks for watching. Hope that was useful.